that Ukraine is set up to die at this point. Let's be frank. Sending weapons and equipment there, it's not going to change anything at this point. We just offloaded 8 HIMARS vehicles. These are the rocket artillery launchers. We have identified 1,000 ATACMS. These are long-range Army tactical missiles that reach out to 300 kilometers with great accuracy. We're going to give those to the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians will use them. What will it do? Nothing. It's not going to change the outcome. It may make the Ukrainians feel good if they're lucky enough to hit a target that kills some Russians from time to time or destroys some infrastructure. It's not going to change the outcome of the war. In fact, if anything, it could make matters worse for the Ukrainians. The Russians will double down and make life that much worse for them. So Ukraine is finished. It's done. Militarily, there's not much it can do. Somebody needs to step up and say, enough's enough. We won't do it. No one in Washington is going to stand up and say, we made a terrible mistake. We were wrong. Russia isn't weak. We always thought in financial terms. We said, well, financial powers equal dollars on a spreadsheet. Not really. Real economic power stems from resources, cheap oil, gas, minerals, foodstuffs. What has Russia in abundance? All of the above. No one thought that through, and no one understood the Russians. The Russians, gosh, are different from us. They react differently. They think differently. You would have thought someone with a brain would have sat down and said, this is not going to produce success with the Russians. But we didn't care. Washington never cares what others think because we see ourselves as the men in the white hats. We have all the answers. And the answer is be like us. Be like us. Join us. It's almost as bad as Genghis Khan, who used to say, join us or die. Well, we say, join us or starve, join us or go broke, join us or we'll sanction you and we'll make you miserable. I think the world's tired of it. It's over. Well, that's gone by the wayside. Who wants to be part of an alliance that drags you into a war with a country that is not your enemy in behalf of another country that is irrelevant to you, that's not even in your alliance? I mean, that's effectively what's happened. It's not because anybody loves or hates Ukrainians or loves or hates Russians. These are just facts. So I think the Swedes ought to send off a thank you note to Mr. Orban in Hungary and even send a thank you note of sorts to Mr. Erdogan with the PS, how would you like all of our Muslims?
Yeah, I thank him every day. I mean, Swedish politicians are, of course, as stupid as the rest of them. And they're always late to the game. So they want to desperately join this alliance, just like they want to join the Euro, which is also a dying project. What would a NATO membership even look like for Sweden, do you think? Would it be more than yes,
well, you have
American nuclear weapons pointed
at obviously, everybody immediately says, well, then you are part of the nuclear umbrella. But I have not been convinced for many decades that the United States would risk nuclear confrontation with a major nuclear power over a village somewhere in Poland or a small town in Germany or France or anywhere else. I just don't see it. Now, there's another portion of this, though, that is very dangerous. The Finns, whom I always viewed as at least rational in the sense that they understood the value of neutrality and they'd managed to avoid all these wars since the Second World War, would never have even thought seriously about joining NATO. But now they've not only joined NATO, but they seem to be receptive to the idea that the U.S. military will establish a base in northern Finland within short range or striking distance of Murmansk, Archangel. What a disaster. I mean, why would you do that? I keep asking them all the time, are there Russian forces massing on your border? Did you capture plans from the Russian general staff in Moscow indicating an imminent plan to overrun Finland? I mean, after all, the the war with Finland went so well the last time, why wouldn't the Russians want to repeat that experience? You know, it's just stupid. It's back to this question of why would the Russians want to rule Lithuanians, Latvians, Estonians, Finns, Swedes, anybody? Forget it. It's a lot of trouble. You know, the Warsaw Pact became as much of a vanity project over time as NATO has been a vanity project for Washington. So I think anyone who thinks they're going to benefit enormously or strategically from joining NATO at this stage who lives in Europe probably ought to seek therapy. We also said we've got to return to a very simple formulation, you know, faith, family, country. Faith, family, country. One of the things that we've seen with this government that we have is a systematic attempt to destroy the family. It's incomprehensible to us that now we want the state to determine, you know, what children learn to believe is real or unreal, that the state controls not only, you know, our lives as adults, but is going to enable children without consulting their parents at the age of 7 to engage in self-mutilation and transform themselves, they think, from, you know, a boy into a girl. We think that people that are willing to do that sort of thing to anybody who's under the age of 18 should be treated as criminals and go to jail. You know, so when you look at the things that concern us, we want to end these pointless wars overseas, stop the interventions. Secondly, we want to restore the rule of law. You know, we can't go forward, you know, indulging criminals, as you know from your own experience in your own country. You do it. We've got to stop it.